This is some clustered phobiage. I'm coining that phrase, clustered phobiage. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. If you can't tell by my more animated demeanor, even more so than usual, we have something in store for you. Welcome to the nightmare. Welcome to Random's Thoughts. It's time for Fright Night. It is time. We are actually underway. In fact, we are well into round one. Now, full disclosure at the start, I am, of course, a content affiliate, and we are officially getting prizes from the Smoking Gun Interactive team, which is awesome. This is our third Fright Night event, but the first one where we're actually going to have prizes, and players are competing for some awesome swag. And there's some secrets in store that I'm going to be letting you know in just a few moments. But, all right, here we are. We are officially into the top 8. Here, one of the games we're going to be looking at is Smileyyy versus aTrend on Vile Vortis 11. Smileyyy here opens up with a snowball into a bank. We've talked a lot about snowball on this map, but we'll see what the 6 cost that comes out. I imagine it's going to be a klepto, could be a crushmore. There's a variety of different things that could materialize, but instead, all 6 keys from our orange player are immediately invested into Phobies. So as mentioned, we're in the top 8. These players have fought through the competition to be the top players at the end of the Swiss pairings, the Swiss rankings, and they're going to be in single elimination, best 2 of 3, single elimination until we have a winner. Shout out to all the players that made it this far. Congratulations, and if you want to try your own hand at this, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord in the video description so that way you can get in on the action when the next Fright Night, number 4, gets announced. But in the meantime, back to the game, we have Spud and Cat following up, meaning a bank to 7 for Smileyyy here, whereas we get an immediate hevo from aTrend. Sorry, taking care of some let's say off-recording stuff, but we do in fact get the klepto that I was alluding to earlier. This chews up all the 1 key from Smileyyy, leaving them with 6 remaining once again. We could see that crush more. We'll see if I pick it up. What phase? We're in top 8, Radizio. We're in top 8. Officially into the semis, but we're looking at the quarterfinals game here. One of the quarterfinals games. So we get some more reinforcements for our orange player in the form of multiple cats. I'm not really sure on why the electric cat. There are no mechanical phobies on the side of the blue player. But, I mean, it's just another 1 key, you know. But in the meantime, we're going to see the elimination of one of said 1 keys and a panic point advantage still remaining orange. We do flip one of them. It was briefly 4-1, but we're going to flip one, so 3-2. Still pressure on our blue player, but not as much as before. In the meantime, blue is actually banking all the way to 10. And we're going to get Fried Cat up in the north because Snowball will finish off the job that Cassowary started. And then our blue cat here, the electric cat, is going to reclaim the point. Gonzo Bonzo, we talked about it a lot. Seems like it may be a big thing on this map. We've seen it a few times, and it's put in a lot of work because it allows for a variety of takedowns from safe positions that your opponent may not be prepared for. It's easy to lose track of, oh yeah, by the way, that thing can also just have like an extra 300 damage, or 600. Electric Cat has decent health for a 1 key? It does, but it doesn't, like, it's a little bit under Cowbell. So if you wanted just the health, Cowbell is better, and I think Cowbell also pushes more damage. I'd have to double check. It's a little odd when your opponent doesn't have mechanicals. But in this case, the electric cat coming out of our blue player does make sense. You got a hevo, so it represents just arbitrary 1 key plus a potential threat. And speaking of threats, Thematic Ginsting. Thematic Ginsting, pretty good. We've seen a variety of them over the course of the day, and this one's going to put in some work. So after the Thematic Ginsting, we get Cyclops. Cyclops and Contortio fill out the forces for our orange player, who has 15 keys remaining to the 18 from our blue player. Compared to many other games, there have not been a lot of phobie deaths here. But again, top 8. These are really strong players, they know what they're doing and how they're going to do it. So they're not going to just give stuff, hand it to their opponent unless they make an egregious error. That's basically what happens. So we'll see some more takedowns on more minor phobies. And a panic point swap back to 3-2 going the other way. But of course, Tickles is in position to just reclaim everything in short order. Orange players' forces are getting clustered here. I don't know if you can really threaten stuff here. It depends. You kind of need Smileyyy to commit, because if they do, then you gonzo something and just annihilate it, because you're going to get boosted damage, multiple hits from multiple things, and then you just blow something up. So we get a spider to complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maxing out the phobies, 9 keys remaining for our blue player. Toy Story 3, Monkey Strikes Again. It's true. Gonzo is pretty good. Right now, Gonzo's just doing the laser eyes thing. Gonna eliminate the 1 key. We didn't see a follow-up from aTrend here. Like, no sneaky 1 key coming in. Instead, the bank to 10 yields Mother Load. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. Mother Load is going to be a serious problem. We get the block here from the Gravedigger. I like this. I've done this a lot with, I was going to say Stone Crusher, but it's Mount Crushmore on this map. I don't know why, but I've been trying to say Stone Crusher instead of Mount Crushmore every time it's come out today. Like, my brain just keeps pushing it to the front, and I don't know why. But anyway, oh, here it is. Hold on, chat. Is this going to be the turn? We get a little clang going. We get the Mother Load into the teeth of this Sparky. But some big AoE going down. Some big AoE going down. Spud goes down. We're going to get a Gravedigger kill. And then we're going to get the body block in front of the Sparky so that now Sparky doesn't get clean hits directly into the face of Mother Load. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. And now it's 8 keys to 2, and it's a fairly dominating force for our orange player, assuming that there isn't going to be just an immediate clapback. So here's the start. That snowball, unfortunately, didn't do a whole lot as far as preventing the damage. Meaning Sparky goes in, and then Snowball finishes the job. So Mother Load is going to die. And now it's just simply a matter of how do the rest of the forces play out. Mother Load croaks as mentioned. Hevo is in position to beat up Sparky, but it's Kerbloom here, right? No, this is just Boom. 1 key remains for our blue player. We get an advance onto this Klepto. Makes sense. This is how you take things down. Wait, really? Okay. So you get a little challenge play action, and then 7 keys go into Mr. Tramples. Here's the thing. The Mother Load was somewhat of a decoy, because you had to commit in order to kill it, but there were still so many keys remaining for our orange player that Mr. Tramples still represents a humongous threat. Oh, and by the way, it's not mechanical, so it's not taking a ton of damage from this Sparky. It tried to block, though, for the Sparky. This is a cool heads-up play by Smileyyy in order to free it up and eliminate the Hevo. Definitely keeping themselves in the game here, but this is a Mr. Tramples play if I ever saw one. Mr. Tramples is going to run through these, possibly. Yeah, it still can do it. It could end up over here by the heart. Oh, it's only going for the Sparky. I mean, that's fair, because then it gets double hits on the Sparky, meaning that you can get a little bees action to eliminate the Sparky and beat up the Jin Sting, and now Gonzo Bonzo's in position. Contortio and Spider are not going to do it against this force. Yes, there's a Hematic Jin Sting. We'll see. Damage getting spread a little bit. I imagine our blue players just taking what they can get. Not quite going to make it. Not quite going to be good enough because you have 6 attacks up here. You're going to have extra attacks down here, and clearly it's 4-to-1 panic point advantage, phobia advantage. Everything's in favor of our blue player. Well played. Well played. GG. So once again, we're zoning in for the quarterfinals of Fright Night number 3. This time we have in the blue trunks staygold on Xylo against in the orange trunks Lufee. Now before we zoned in, I did catch with my little eye that there was an aTractor MVP. It's a Lufee game. Who's shocked? We'll have to see how this goes. So we get a droney-related opener, which is pretty cool. This is something that I think DT initially pointed out on this map or another map, and then people have been trying to go for a variety of different things. It's pretty cool. But we get a Crushmore from staygold, which makes sense. Another thing that I like on this map. And then we get an innocuous follow-up from Lufee. Lufee does very much like these tentacle aliens. Who knew? Alright, break from the Crushmore. So Contortio comes out, but we get a Jin Sting. The break here, I've mentioned in other games that I really like the break on Xylo. I think it's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of things that are valuable here. But we do finally get the aTractor that was mentioned at the beginning of the game. It makes sense to get it online as early as possible, and it just represents such an enormous threat no matter what map you're on. No matter what map you're on, Innoculus, well, I guess it's a palette swap of Innoculus, so it's kind of true. But no matter what map you are on, the threat from an aTractor, it just has to be respected. You have to respect it. In the meantime, we get a Jar and a Snowball, which do threaten. Remember, these things are made out of paper, both Innoculus and aTractor. And Panic Point Advantage is for our blue player, so it's interesting to see where this will end up. Oh no, is this a dead Spud? Spud, not like this. Now, realistically, there could be some funny things that happen here, because this can hit either of these Phobies. You could get the Murder Wing flying over. But in the meantime, we had a Baba Yaga come out. Alright, we see the beats, the laser beams going down onto Jin Sting. We are, in fact, going to get a juiced. No, we're going to get a juiced Murder Wing, but not a juiced Meatball. And then a Rambolina. Lufee does love some displacement effects. I love to see them. This is awesome. This is, in fact, awesome. So now the panic points have flipped. They won't be for very long, but we get a block here. That's actually pretty cool. The block is pretty cool because it prevents the Rambolina from coming in. And now we get a trap going down, preventing the aTractor from actually getting on this point or really advancing meaningfully. It's going to get really awkward for the aTractor because you have to dance around the lava. It would have been nice to, like, okay, well, I spend one turn on lava to yoink, but that's it. Oh, no! Why did this happen? This didn't have to happen, but yeah. Down goes Baba Yaga. Lufee's good on this map. I think this is one of Lufee's favorite maps, but Lufee likes any map with abyss tiles. Shocker, right? Alright, we get the break here, which is a great heads-up play from Lufee. It allows the Rambolina to reposition, as well as the Innoculus to take out. Well, I mean, the space didn't really matter, but the Innoculus gets this. It does activate the trap, though, which puts a significant amount of damage onto aTractor. That's a problem. That's problematic. But Lufee has a few games under his belt with aTractor. I think, ooh, we get a Jeeves. Third Jeeves we've seen today, I believe. And Gonzo Bonzo. We get Toy Story Monkey once again. We'll see if it's able to take down a W this time. Alright, so the Innoculus creeping up. Quagmire safely takes the middle point. This is a tough spot for our blue player to advance into. We're 2/3 of the way in. We get a Clinico to heal the Rambolina. 7 keys to 5 remaining. The positional advantage means that the Phobies for Lufee are better, regardless almost of what they are. I mean, to a degree. But the idea here is that because staygold is going to have to commit in, it's going to be difficult for Lufee to hemorrhage the position. Like, it's just going to take a lot of effort. That being said, it's not impossible, and it's still very much winnable. But I'm a little curious as to why this Poison Ivy came out, let alone popped a trap here. That doesn't seem to make much difference. So because of the line of sights here, like, look at this. We get 2 3-range Phobies just teeing off on the heart in combination. Oh, Doom Doom! I didn't know Doom Doom's eyes swirled like that. Doom Doom is such a weird Phobie. And also the way it runs, like, that's hilarious. Like, that's actually awesome. But it makes sense seeing the double trap Phobies here if you're going to plan an invade. So now Lufee knows there's a trap there. We do get the yoink onto the heart, which allows for a kill on the jar. Hold on, we gotta look at this, chat. This is a cool highlight play. Doom Doom illuminates the trap, but we don't care about that. We get the yoink targeting the heart, which means, hey, that jar that you were hoping was gonna, you know, assist your chances. No. Bye-bye jar. Lufee gets these plays all the time. So the block from Crushmore also completely eliminated here thanks to the Gravedigger, which means that we're going to continue laying laser beams into this heart. Doom Doom is surprisingly tanky. I've said that before. Doom Doom is pretty tanky. 1800 health. I mean, it's a 5 cost, so it should be fairly tanky. But still. Heart Pull and Boop is really good. It's true. It's true. But instead, we're getting a Gonzo Bonzo assisted beatdown onto Quagmire. Not quite enough to kill it, although it might die from the fire. I'm not sure. Turn's about to end, otherwise I'd pause and check. It, in fact, is not enough. That's brutal. That's brutal. Double hits from this, a fireball, even the droney hit, not quite enough. The droney goes down. We have, obviously, significant Phobie advantage for our orange player. It's now a 5-0 panic point advantage. We got 2 range 3 Phobies laying into the heart. I think you know where this one's going. Doom Doom's attack is cool, too. Is Doom Doom supposed to be an owl? Because it sounds like it's hooting. We get the invade here, but realistically, I mean, look at this heart. This heart is very, 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 very low. Doom Doom eats the trap. Doesn't have as cool of an animation as Tickles, but it does go down.
I feel like we've connected.
Last turn, because obviously, as we saw, there's only a sliver of health left, but shout out to staygold, putting up a fight up to the last turn. Getting in as much damage as they can, but GG. Well played to both players. Taking that Doom Doom down. Or not. GG. I wanted to see that, because it's fun when all the death knell sounds. Alright, here we are, once again, in the quarterfinals for Fright Night number 3. If you want to get involved, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord in the video description, or come by the live stream, RTChompGG. We're going to be talking about it for a while. This has been an awesome event. It's been a lot of fun. Shout out to the devs for providing surprises, and of course, sponsoring me, because I am sponsored. Getting that in there. So, we have Gamer facing off against Onda on the floor is lava. Now, this might have been the most banned map in the entire event. I don't know if I saw. We might have had one other game on floor is lava that we watched. It's interesting. It's interesting. A lot of people don't like this map, but right now we're seeing the reason why a lot of people don't like this map. That is Gamer capping 4 to 2 panic points. We do get a Unbearable to try and fight for the mid here, and the K9 blocking in this Henrietta, but this is still not great. This is going to be a tough spot for Onda, no matter what. So we get the cat invasion in order to try and beat up this K9. This K9's going to die, and which means that it's trading key negative, but you do have to eliminate this stuff so that way you can run around and start recapping points. This is the difficulty with this map, is trying to ensure that you're actually able to push damage, threaten your opponent without just losing everything. So for example here, the Murder Wing's coming in order to allow an elimination here so that way the K9 lives and you can recap this point. But that does free up Stabby and the Spud to just lay into this Unbearable. Unbearable is tanky. Unbearable does have Undead Life Leech. It's not invulnerable. In fact, I expect we're going to see a jar. Just like that, Unbearable is in fact toast. Down goes Unbearable. Yo, that guy is mad. Little bit of mad action going on. I mean, Unbearable's probably not happy about it. Unbearable is likely not pleased, but all of this yielded in a Stabby, Spud, and Jar versus Murderwing, K9, Cat, and now aTractor. There are still 6 keys remaining for Gamer, so we'll have to see where this goes. Is this a dead aTractor? 900, 375, 6, 705, 9. Oh no, is this a dead aTractor? This could have been a dead aTractor, I think. Unless I'm miscounting. But instead, we get a retreat and we get a Ray Chargels. Ooh, this is bold. We get a Yoink pulling in the Ray Chargels. With the aTractor on lava, this is definitely a dead aTractor. Or should be. Ah, this is a cool play. Get the takedown onto the Ray Chargels. And we get the invade from the K9 in order to put panic points 4-2 in favor of Onda. So double hit possibly onto the aTractor. Doesn't look like they're going to need it. Doesn't look like they're going to need it based on the actions that are being taken. Which means that all of a sudden, it's going to be like Cat and Jar versus the world. That's a painful turn. Yes, you get the Ray Chargels, but similar to what we saw in some of the previous game breakdowns, ultimately, the trade wasn't really worth it, or didn't seem like it. This is not good, because that Jar is dead. So, now the Jar is going to go down. Onda, as mentioned, shout out to Onda again, because Onda started this event at 10 p.m. their time. We have a global event. It was cool having people from all over the world playing Fright Night, but you can kind of see where some errors may be creeping in due to exhaustion. So shout out to Onda again. But this is, yeah, 4 keys remaining, and somehow your 4 keys need to beat this, not counting whatever comes out. Onda going out with honor. You can see the booms. Onda, the king of booms, and kabooms, and kerblooms. Notably, Jinsting will not bees a boom to death on level. That's interesting. Boom, baby, is right. I imagine we're going to see a set of fireworks going off here because, you know, yep. Onda going out on their own terms. Shout out to Onda. GG. Well played. All right, here we are in Home Sweet Home. Still in the quarterfinals for Fright Night number 3. PlayrHimself against theandykat. We get a Bone Mangles opener. Let's see who takes this one down. The games have been very intense. This has been very intense for this event. So shout out to all the competitors. Thank you for everybody that came out. If you want to get involved, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. It'll be in the video description. Or come by the live stream, RTChompGG, over on Twitch. Likes and subscribes, of course, do help because I do want to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, PlayrHimself has supplemented their forces. Henrietta and Cassowary join the gang, whereas a pseudo... Well, not a pseudo. It is another turret opener, double turrets even, from our orange player. As we've gone on, a lot more people have recognized this, both not just on the ladder, but also in the event. Maybe it was just by virtue of the games we were reviewing, but a lot of them didn't seem to feature this particular thing. Instead, we're seeing a lot of them showing up here. A lot of them are showing up. I'm going to kick myself later when I didn't put stream markers in this, but what are we going to do? Because it's going to be really difficult to edit this. It's going to take a long time. But anyway, my whining aside, we get a jar follow-ups to both players, 2-0 panic point advantage. You typically didn't see this from other players throughout the event, but this is something I like from player. It not only forces more damage now, but it means that if the orange player recaps the point, because they're going to kill the Henrietta no matter where you put it, they have to actually, they're just reclaiming it and making it even. So now they send in the second one. If they elected to not do it, then you're either ending up even or still up 2-0. As compared to if you take this one and then it's 2-1 and they still have their own, they don't have to advance to recap these points. Like, this yields a positional advantage. And Erratic rears its head. We've been seeing a lot of Erratic today. Erratic has been a terror in this level 1 only event. Getting some repositioning. Triple. Oh, no. The disrespect. Build a castle. Building a castle right in Erratic's face. Now, there will be a little bit of splash damage, but realistically, does that matter? Like, is that all that important? This is triple panic point advantage, orange, and a block right in the face of player himself. Player elects to go for the break onto the, or attempted break, eventual break on the statue. Going for the splash results in effectively one attack on the Gravedigger. It's a little surprising that they're willing to back off in this fashion, but you do have a couple turns, not long. But you have a couple turns before this is going to get really messy, because right now we're looking at, can't click on the heart, 4,200 to 56. So we wanted to try it out in a tournament, and I like the level 1. I like the level 1. I hope everybody else does too. So we have max Phobies for our blue player. Kind of brain farted there for a second. I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired and hungry, chat. I'm getting tired and hungry, YouTube. So, Noxious is the answer. Possibly a big threat for this Erratic here. Oh no, what? Baby, what is you doing? Why? Oh, this seems bad. This seems not good. You can just splash off the statue. Oh no, not like this. That's brutal. The Noxious going down, splashing the statue hurts. It really hurts. So we get poison on both undead. At least if the Noxious had to advance. You know, you destroy the statue, the Noxious had to advance, it would be in range of things. But yeah, rip those undead units. It feels bad. They're going to meet their true death sooner or later. 8 keys to 7 remaining. The Stabby had to pull back to heal. We will get a recap from the cassowary. Clearly, it's not long for this world. That's okay. It's going to die. You got to get what you can get for it. Gravedigger is going to undo the work. Oh, no. Look at this. Would you look at this? The disrespect from this Gravedigger. The disrespect. Just locking out Erratic once again. Oof. Now, Erratic is going to tank through some of this poison, able to leech some life due to the splash, but still, 5 keys remaining, 4 get invested in this Jin Sting. Get a little more AoE going down. That means the death of this Gravedigger. Great plays by theandykat. This is real solid. Got credit where credit is due. Getting some extra damage going down onto the Noxious, but... Okay, Noxious doesn't have AoE up. That would have been really bad. So we get the retreat from Andy. 7 keys remaining. What is going to be the reinforcement here? Or reinforcements, plural. The jar sneaking up means that there's going to be some additional damage going down onto, or some initial damage really going down onto the Jin Sting. We in fact then get a heal from Clinico onto the Noxious, banking 4 keys still. It's not impossible for player to win this game, but It is going to be a significantly uphill battle. This one's going to be rough. Panic point advantage back to our blue player. Yeah, the Clinico heal is backbreaking. So look at this erratic. After the poison, 900 health, and it might just get poisoned again. The disrespect is real. Gravedigger's just like right in your face, building a statue. So Bo Mangles goes back to heal. Orange player is playing this fairly cautiously. I don't think there's any way that player can safely advance. And in fact, I think this was the end, because you can see end of turns here. And in fact, crushing win. I called it right. Here we go. Zoning in with Lufee and aTrend onto Floor's Lava. We're officially in the semifinals, everyone. Fright Night number 3 is drawing to a close. We almost have our champion. Let's see how this particular game breaks down. We get a triple one-drop opener from aTrend. That seems to be the trend on this map, at least from what I recall from ladder. Believe it or not, I haven't actually got it in this rotation yet. I literally threw my stabby away, but I feel like I should have won anyway. All right, we'll see. So we get a 4-to-1 panic point advantage basically right off the bat. That's how this map goes. It is, at least if you listen to a lot of people in the community, this is heavily slanted towards first player. Only the devs really know those numbers, and I'd love if the devs release that information, but we'll see if they do. So in the meantime, we get a Gravedigger breaking this block, allowing greater access to the south here, which is kind of interesting. This is an interesting play from Lufee. aTrend is very consistent, and that's definitely his strength, for sure. For sure. Consistency is important. So now we have a 5-to-1 panic point advantage. As mentioned, a lot of damage is going to be going down onto the orange player's heart. A lot of damage going down on the orange player's heart. Now, these are, of course, best of 3 matches. We're only covering 1 game from each series, so that way we can cover as many as possible. The event at this stage has been very much long in the tooth, so I'm getting tired. We're going to do what we can, but we're looking at one of the games here from Lufee and aTrend in the semis. Now, the stabby here, is this vulnerable? Is this where the stabby dies? I imagine not, but I could be wrong. Actually, this might be a dead stabby, because a snowball could come out here and eliminate this stabby. Yep. So this takes down the turret for our orange player, leaving them with a very, very meager board. An incredibly meager board. The fire actually eliminates the stabby, so you don't even get the dimensional pull. This is pretty brutal. This is pretty brutal. You get the takedown on the 1 key to, you know, solve your ego. You get an erratic, which again, erratic has been showing up a lot in this event. I'd love to see some erratic plays. That takes down another 1 key, 3-to-3 panic points. And realistically, I agree with Lufee. This isn't a terrible position. This isn't unsalvageable. I don't even know that it's bad, because erratic is one of the best turrets in the game, right? You're even on panic points, even though you're clearly going to be down a whole bunch of health here. And we get a Tickles as follow-up, presumably just to recap points. 12 keys to 11, because we haven't seen a 1 key come out in order to reclaim points for our orange player. A cat is the 5th phobie for our blue player, bank to 7. So what is going to recap this point? It's not going to be Gravedigger. We do get an Attractor. Okay, so Lufee is willing to play a little more controlling, and I think this is probably necessary, truthfully. You need to be able to force some of this stuff to happen. The problem here is the cat obviously is threatening, and this Quagmire is going to be threatening. Like 2,800 health. You don't have a whole lot of breathing room. We're about 2/3 of the way through, almost. So where does this... Is this already decided? We'll have to see. The Gravedigger block here is actually great, because that solidifies this top point. We do get the elimination here, but I think what needs to happen... Okay, good. We get this going in, and then you possibly need to body block here. We get a Minotaur. The Minotaur is very interesting, but this Gravedigger, I don't know if you have enough damage. I appreciate blocking the panic point for obvious reasons. But I think you may need to have... Like, I don't know if there was a need to move the attractor. I don't think there was a need to move the attractor. Does that matter? We're about to find out. But we see a Noxious as the final phobie for our blue player. Still 3 keys remaining for our orange player. Ooh, how is this going to go down? Actually, the Quagmire retreats. I was half expecting it to just go in on the heart, truthfully. Get a bunch of damage going down onto the stabby. I imagine that our orange player is counting up every bit of damage here to make sure that there isn't going to be something unexpectedly killing things after the stabby play earlier in the game. The problem here is, while you have a 4-2 panic point advantage, this Noxious is going to spit on all 3 of these. Or at least these 2 and recap the point. Quagmire can beeline for the bottom. I think you needed to supplement already. Like, why weren't the other 3 keys burned? So now we have poison going down here. 4-2 panic point advantage. Get a bunch of damage going down on the Noxious, but not quite enough to kill it yet. Gesundheit eliminates the Noxious. Okay. Recap with the Minotaur. Fair. Still 1 key remaining. We're looking at 1,600 hard health. And unfortunately, you could get the Quagmire going here. You can get a recap at this point. I don't know why this other 1 key didn't materialize. How close is this going to be? So we get the takedown here. You eliminate just about everything. 800 health. But the snowball is going to back cap a point. The snowball is just going to back cap a point. And just like that, it'll be GG. Honestly, yeah, well played. Here we are, zoning into the other semi-final for Fright Night number 3. As always, if you want to get into Fright Night, check out the links in the description of this video. Come by the live stream, likes and subscribes, blah, blah, blah. But let's get to it. Enough of that nonsense. We are jumping into the floor is lava with Gamer 24/7 against andykat. Now, we just reviewed a different game on this for the other semi-final, so it's fitting that we look at this to close it out before we get to the finals. Now, we get a triple 1-cost opener from our blue player. As mentioned, this is pretty expected. We get a 2-1-1 opener from our orange player, also somewhat expected. This makes sense. The reason it makes sense is because you get this immediate cap of the board, but as the orange player, you're able to respond as best as you can to a spread of phobies and therefore either eliminate some or at least chip them down to size. Now, we get the stabbies mirroring each other, so basically we're looking at very, very similar openers from each player. The question is, Gamer does choose to send the stabby south in order to eliminate this canine. That's a bold move, because the stabby is now going to be lingering out of position for a couple turns, well, a turn, and be late to the party to the middle. Now, this is a good heads-up play. Eliminate the cat so that this cat has more mobility. Now, it can still get tagged by this Henrietta, but the whole point is you need to recap these panic points to stem the bleeding. And we actually get a double turret setup from our orange player, so we'll see how this goes down. K9 action figure, K9000 action figures now with actual TNT. That could run afoul of some safety laws. Just saying. All right, Lufee, thanks for hanging out. So we get a Klepto as the follow-up due to the bank from Gamer. Klepto is going to be able to put a hurt on all the stuff clearly from some protected area, but similar to what we saw in the last game, which may not bode well for our orange player, we're getting a break from the Gravedigger. This is not too dissimilar than what we saw from Lufee on the previous map, or the previous breakdown. Double turret's a little different, but you get where I'm going with it. So we get the repositioning here. The Contortio was able to slide across the top and set the panic point 4-2 in favor of our orange player. And a retreat from the Stabby means that we're probably going to get a Clinico or a Muffin here at some point. But now it's a 5-1 panic point advantage. 5-1. Softening up of the Klepto here. But the Stabby is probably dead? 900 health? Not quite. Unless it gets help. Which means that something's going to get yoinked into a position that you don't want. 5-1 panic point advantage, as mentioned. Unless Gamer... Ooh, Gamer's not going for the Stabby. Gamer's, in fact, going after the cat. With a Unicorn follow-up. 10 keys to 12 keys remaining. 9 keys remaining, because we get a Cowbell in order to stem the bleeding on the other side. So, Bo Mangles is going to eliminate this Cowbell, obviously, and we get the Muffin... Shocker. Muffin's going to come in, cure that poison, get the Stabby back into fighting shape, at least somewhat, 540 health worth, and then we get the follow-up Noxious. We've actually seen a few Noxious in these top 8 matches. So Contortio now causes it to be 3 panic points to 3 panic points. This is some clustered phobiage. I'm coining that phrase, clustered phobiage. Because we get the block here. These are all very similar plays to the last game, and this didn't work out. But we do get the Noxious in a much safer position, able to... Well, is it much safer? Yeah, it's safer, because it can't get hit by Stabby as much. Getting the splash with the poison onto both Klepto and Stabby. Seems good. But Klepto, of course, is a lob. It's able to get some splash damage going down onto the Noxious. This will secure the kill, this being, of course, the Unicorn advance. So we get the Muffin going down on Stabby. I have to wonder if we're going to see a Clinico with the remaining 8 keys for Gamer. 5 keys left for our orange player, and their forces are dwindling. Not out of it, but their forces are dwindling. Double turret means Unicorn goes down. Well, a turret takes the Unicorn down. Stabbies start trading blows, and then we get a 4-2 panic point advantage thanks to the Stray Electricat. Woolly Bully is what andykat is putting all of their... Like, that's everything. All the remaining keys are going into this singular bucket. We also get a Klepto. We also get a Clinico for the Klepto in order to cure that poison. And Hevo is the final phobie. Honestly, I feel as though our blue player has the advantage here. It's even panic points, but neither player really is going to want to commit into either one for obvious reasons. Trying to check the health here. We get a very damaged Gravedigger, a slightly damaged Stabby. We could see an invade from the Woolly Bully, which is kind of what we're seeing here. Woolly Bully powers down the Klepto, dropping it to a mere 100 damage. Not a lot, but how much time do we have? 2,800 to 3,600. This game is getting tight. All right, so getting some action going down onto the Woolly Bully. Is this going to be enough? My guess is no. Ooh. Oh, no. Never mind. Not Assassin Clinico. I was getting excited for a potential Assassin Clinico. But Woolly Bully is going to live to either power down or whack something with this another day. This is a rough spot. How is our blue player coming back from this? Are they coming back from this? There's still 7 turns. The trap actually takes down the Woolly Bully. That's huge. That is huge. That's actually enormous. Ton of damage going down on the blue heart. 1,600 health. Honestly, I could see an invade just to cap the point now that that's gone. That trap was GG. Like, that trap is incredible. I get the desire for it. Maybe aNdykat should have seen the trap coming. I don't know. I feel like if you were going to do this, it needed to happen last turn. But it's now suddenly 2 turrets against a finally restored Klepto and Hevo. Even panic points. Really? Really? Why not kill the Klepto? I guess they're saying I'm going for the win here? 400 health remaining. You either have to cap a point or win this turn. Obviously, they cap a point because, you know. Even panic points. And then it was just simply stabby. Just simply stabby. Incredible, chat. This one was absolutely incredible. Say what you will about Floor is Lava, but these games are close. Very close game. GG. All right, here we are. This is another semifinals question mark. It is, in fact, a semifinals game. I had to second guess myself for a moment. We have aNdykat, the aNdykat, zoning in the blue trunks here on Vile Vortex 11. Gamer is, of course, assuming the orange trunks here. We get an interesting opener from aNdykat in breaking this obstacle. This does allow for 1 keys to just sprint across and claim this bottom panic point. Some damage goes down on Gravedigger, but realistically, who cares? This is kind of a cool opener. This is definitely unique compared to what we've seen from players throughout this event. We've seen a few games on Vile Vortex, but this one's a little bit different. So from there, we get Contortio plus Unicorn and a bank. Looks like a bank. It is, in fact, a bank, which means that it puts our blue player at 7 keys. What does that mean? Well, there's a variety of different nasty 7 keys that can come out here. It could be Pterodactyl. It could be Hevo 2.0. Or it could just be a combination of different things. We'll have to see what aNdykat has in store. But in the meantime, Cassowary and Ginsting supplement the forces and a 3-2 panic point advantage, orange. So it's a plain Hevo, not Hevo 2.0, and it gets in position in order to threaten a variety of phobies. There isn't enough damage here in order for our orange player to really punish the Hevo, so if you go in, you're just going to end up losing things. It doesn't get you anything. Actually, it was a 3-1 panic point advantage before. I said 2, but they just capped this point now. Our blue player, that is. So we get a retreat here, or a repositioning, we'll call it. We get a repositioning, and then we get a Crushmore. Crushmore follows up. We get a nice box formation, sort of. Boxing in the cat, that is. But we get a super speedy Henrietta. I love how fast Henrietta is. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily like it if I saw a spider that was that fast in real life, especially one that could be as threatening or creepy as Henrietta. But I love Henrietta's speed of the animations because it makes it so much easier to recap points. Speaking of multi-legged monstrosities, we get a Peschetti. Peschetti comes out. We have a 4-1 panic point advantage, blue. Four to one panic point advantage blue becomes 3-2 panic point advantage blue. Hevo comes out alongside Crushmore in order to ruin the day for that Henrietta. Now, here's the weird thing. Is it worth trading Peschetti for Crushmore? Because if the Pescetti goes in, it's going to get clobbered by a whole variety of things. It is possible that the Gravedigger could lay down a block to prevent this. So, for example,
Play a little dirty.
you disease this. No, this activated. What did this do? It broke this. Oh, and it broke this. I guess that's fine. So we do get the recap in the center. This is absolutely going to ensure the death of this Pescetti unless Gamer chooses to not deal with it. There's just too many things in range, but the disease on the Crushmore means that you're at the very least going to trade evenly eventually. So any further benefit you get from Pescetti here is just bonus. It's just a bonus at this stage. Get the leap into the cassowary hit, quite obviously. Gonna get a little fireball action. And some bees. So I assume the fire is going to do this. This means that Pescetti and Gravedigger go down for solely the Crushmore. In fact, we do see the Pescetti get taken down. Get a follow-up with 2-1 keys. This will allow Gamer to recap portions of the board. Because, again, Panic Point advantage 4-1 blue. Right now, we're looking at 7,000 to 6,000. Still a lot of health on our orange player's heart. 8 keys banked, by the way. 8 keys available. But the Gin Sting is going to pay for its sins, goes down. This Cassowary is also going to pay for it. So we're getting some, I'll call them even trades. These are certainly, at the very least, reasonable trades, thinning out the herd on both player sides. Now, from here, Orange is now starting to reclaim parts of the map, get in the middle, retreating the Snowball, presumably just to get it out of position. That's fine. The Crushmore is kind of locked to that healing spa for a while. It's clearly not going to get rid of the disease, but it does extend its lifespan. And now we see the trap activate. It was going to happen eventually. And Primate, which is something that I have been taking notice of with other high-level players. Innocuous as the follow-up means that this cowbell is dead. Are we going to see a 1 key? Yep, Electric Cat comes out. Talked about it a lot today. A lot of Electric Cats have been making an appearance. And we actually get a replacement trap. We get a replacement trap, so Panic Points once again flip to the blue player. So is Orange going to go in? Doesn't look like it because that Primate pulled back. I'm not real clear on why this dropped back. I guess to heal the Hevo. That's reasonable. And speaking of Hevos, we get a Hevo 3.0. Hevo 3.0. And we get a Woolly Bully. We've actually seen a few Woolly Bullies over the course of this event. They've been okay. They've definitely had some victories, definitely had some losses. It's interesting that they're showing up at all, and I wonder how many people just said, hey, I'm going to try this now that things are level 1. Experimentation in the semifinals of the tournament might be a little bold, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So we get the Crushmore back onto the healing spa, extending its lifespan artificially. And we get the Hevo going down, laying some splash damage onto Woolly Bully and, of course, Gin Sting. Now, the Woolly Bully could power down the Hevo, which would clearly be bad for the Hevo player, but it does mean that the fire, or rather doesn't mean that the fire decreases in damage. The fire is still going to deal what the fire deals. Instead, we're getting a repositioning from the Woolly Bully. And a retreat from everything else. It's 4-1 blue, Panic Point-wise, and the Orange Heart is not looking healthy. We were talking about it earlier, it's 6k. It's now down to 38, as opposed to 68. 3,000 life difference. That's a lot of health. It's a lot of health. You're now getting into the stage of the game where things are actually dangerous. So Woolly Bully went south, and Hevo followed. Panic points are going to swing orange temporarily. Or what I'm assuming is temporarily. We'll see. The Inoculus has all but taken itself out of the game, given its positioning. Which I get. It couldn't run through here because of the way everything's set up, so it had to go around, but that kind of sucks. That kind of hurts. So Wooly Bully powers down Hevo. As mentioned, still going to get damaged by the fire, but there's not going to be AoE to spread it. There's also not going to be a whole lot of other meaningful damage because it's not going to stack. It gives Wooly Bully a chance to fight Hevo, and given the advance from Klepto here and Jinsting, the Hevo is going to have to just kind of run if it wants to live. Because otherwise, it's going to get collapsed on and or other mean things are going to happen. So as mentioned, there goes Hevo. There goes my Hevo. Retreating back to the safety of this particular spot on the map. And now we have a 4-to-1 panic point advantage orange. Our blue player does have not an enormous amount of time, but a significant amount of time due to the fact that they were in control of panic points for so long. Trap tags the Hevo in the north, but we're getting some points recapped by our blue player. Ill Bees action going down. This finally seals the untimely death of that Mount Crushmore. And we get a little pot shot going down onto the Hevo. I'm a little surprised that the Wooly Bully did not cap the bottom point. It wasn't vulnerable dying to the Hevo, and there's no keys left for either player, so there wasn't anything coming out of the vault. It's a little odd. The Hevo does lay down some splash, gets more value despite being powered down. Not for much longer, though. But this invade needs to do a lot. Hevo goes down. So that's a pretty big deal. But at the same time, this Klepto is going to get an enormous amount of value by killing the Snowball. Really? Okay, so spreading the damage a little bit. Snowball would have died in one hit. That's fair. You wouldn't have gotten 2 hits on Snowball, which is relevant. Just whack the Primate with a sign. Kill the Murder Wing. Jinsting is able to retreat. Now, the unfortunate part here is this Hevo is healthy. It is no longer powered down. There's going to be a huge amount of damage going down here. It's possible this Klepto dies, but the other Hevo is super low health. Super low health. I wish we could get the health bars to stay up all the time, but I can't quite do it. So instead, we take down the Wooly Bully. Presumably it was because that was all that would die. Panic point advantage goes to our blue player. And there's really no way for our orange player to invade. It's going to be tough for Hevo 3.0 to do this on their own, and that's basically what it's going to be. You can heal up this Hevo, but it's going to take a lot of time, and you have to reclaim some panic points. 3,000 health remaining. Ah, we have a winner! The finals were going on while we're looking at this game. Just in case you were wondering, you can check out those game reviews elsewhere. Check out the rest of the channel, or come by the live stream. Links in the description. So we're getting some repositioning here, only a few more turns, a lot of pressure going down onto our orange player. We do get some splash happening. Jinsting ate it while I was distracted. But ultimately, this is just going to be a matter of panic points. This is going to be a matter of panic points. Klepto, of course, is able to recap one. It's now 4-to-1. This heart is at 2k health. This is pretty dicey. You have to simultaneously recap points, eliminate this Klepto, and prevent the Jinsting from backcapping other points. It's a tall ask. And I think Gamer sees the writing on the wall here. Because we're probably just going to get a little splash action going down onto the heart. A few eggs. Can I offer you an egg in this trying time? But yeah, there's literally no way to actually address this. GG, well played. That's going to do it. As always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.